Okay, so for problem number 23, it's a two-part problem. You have this first part of the problem that I've highlighted right here. We're going to use the formula A equals P times B, where we're trying to find the amount specifically of the decrease, the amount of money that the investment decreased. That's what we're going to calculate. And we do that by finding what 60% of $11,000 is. Of means multiply, change the 60% into 0.6, multiply that. I used my calculator. If it makes you feel better to see that zero, sometimes it does me. 0.6 times $11,000 is $6,600. That's how much money my $11,000 decreased. So we know then that if you take that amount of money, $11,000, take away 6,600, then we have 4,400 left for year two. I think that's what it said. Yes. So we lost this. We lost this during year one. So that means for year two, we're starting with, we only start with, was it 4,400? Yeah, 4,400. So what happens in year two, 4,400, we're going to use the same formula. We're going to find how much money we gained because it says during the second year, your investment increased by 70%. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to say we're going to find the amount of the increase by doing 70% times the amount of money that we have. And we only started with 4,400 after our loss from year one. We changed that 70% into a working number. So put 70 over 100 and then change it to a decimal. It comes out to be 0.7. Multiply that times 4,400 and 0.7 times 4,400, and we get $3,080. $3,080 is the amount of my increase. So that means at the end of year two, I started out with 4,400 and then I increased it by $3,080. So my total amount of money at the end of the year is 7,480. Now I need to know of the original amount of money that I started with, what kind of change is that? So I take what I started with originally, $11,000. I take what I have right now and I subtract it. And I see that I have a loss. $11,000 minus 7,480. And I have a loss of 3,520. Now, over here on my slides, you can see that if I'm trying to find the percentage of either increase or decrease, it's definitely an increase. You put the amount of decrease on top and the original amount on bottom. So the $3,520 is what's going to go on top. $11,000 is what's going to go on bottom. And we're going to divide that. So 3,520 on top divided by 11,000 on bottom. And then, of course, multiply that times 100 so you can get a percentage that is equal to, it originally said 0.32, which is 32%. So we have a 32% loss. Where did my problem go? Okay, so it says your advisor tells you that you've had a 10% overall increase because he incorrectly said 60% from 70% is an increase of 10%, but it's percentages of different amounts, so that's why you can't do that. It said, is your financial advisor using percentages properly? No. So the answer is either B or D. No, he's not using, there is an actual percentage loss. Yes, we lost, and I believe it is 32%. Okay, I lost my button. Okay, question 24 says that you have $600 and your restaurant bill comes to $450. First of all, I want to say, where in the Sam Hill are they eating? I hope that restaurant, I hope that they're feeding 45 people for $450. Land sakes. That's too rich for my poor teacher blood. Anyway, I'm going to use the formula that they gave me, A equals P times B, or A is percent of B. So I've got to find out the tip is 25% of the bill. So what is 25% of 450? Change the 25% into a working number. So that's 0.25. Multiply that times 450. And I typed that in the calculator, 0.25 times 450, and the tip comes out to be good. Lands $112.50. So the total amount for the restaurant bill is $450 plus the $112.50. So in order to afford this ridiculous restaurant bill, you need $562.50, and they have $600. So it says I have $600, which is not enough to leave for the tip. So that's untrue. We do have enough money for the tip. The statement does not make sense because 25% added to 450 is less than 600. This other option down here says that it's equal to 600. We know that it's less than, it's only 562. And I think that gets me to the last question. Determine which statement makes sense or does not make sense. The rent increased from 10% to 20% of your income. So the percent increase is, you put the change and divide it over the original. Remember the amount of the increase or decrease. You can see the slide right here. The amount of the increase or the decrease over the original. And as long as all three of those numbers are percents, we can use that formula. So the increased from 10 to 20, that's a change of 10. So we do 20 minus 10, that's a change of 10. And then you put 10 over the original. It was 10%, so you're going to have 10 over 10. This one right here looks like it's going to be the correct answer. Why is it 100? Because 10 over 10 is 1. So, and when you change 1 to a percentage, it's 100%. So, this should be the correct answer. And that finishes this section.